This past month, we've been looking at the miracles of Jesus, and the miracles of Jesus. We saw how they were, and I mentioned before, they were gifts to the recipient, but the miracles really lessons to the disciples. He's teaching his disciples more about him because miracles validated Jesus' identity. Miracles authenticated Jesus' identity as the Lord, as the Son of God. Jesus is the Son of God. That's what miracles validated. And miracles were signs of also Jesus being the Messiah. Miracles were signs that Jesus was the Messiah, the anointed one, the chosen one. Matter of fact, when John the Baptist, who was sent before Jesus to prepare the way for Jesus, when John the Baptist sent two disciples to ask Jesus, is he the one that is to come? Or should we expect someone else? He said, are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else? That's a dangerous game. We should only expect Jesus. I expect Jesus to move in my life. I expect Jesus. But are you the one who is to come, or should we expect someone else? And Jesus told the two disciples to report back to John what you've seen and what you've heard. These were signs, what you've seen and what you heard. And say that the blind receive sight. The lame walk. Those who have leprosy are cleansed. The deaf can hear, the dead is raised, and the gospel, the good news, is proclaimed to the poor. He said, tell my cousin that. Tell my cousin that what you've seen and heard about the blind, about the lame, about the good news being proclaimed to the poor. Tell John what you've seen and what you've heard, because those actions were actions of the Messiah outlined in the book of Isaiah. So he's saying, I am doing the work of the Messiah, but the problem is, and we're going to dive really into it when it get on Easter Sunday, the problem is Jesus was the Messiah, but he just wasn't moving in the way they expected him to. That was the issue. So he has the signs. He's performing the signs of the Messiah, but if you look at his miracles, they were really humble acts of service, not spectacular power of political deliverance. That's what they wanted. But Jesus didn't come for political deliverance. He came to deliver us from sin. He didn't come for political. He came to deliver us from sin. That was his main mission. That was so we can have a relationship with the Father. And we all in this room are experiencing the relationship of the Father. That salvation. Come on, the free gift of salvation. Y'all enjoying that salvation? We remember every first Sunday, Communion Sunday, the free gift. That's why Jesus came. But they was like, are you the Messiah? Because he wasn't moving in the way they expected him to, because what they were looking for, in my words, were flashy acts of political deliverance. They wanted flashy. We love flashy, don't we? They wanted flashy. But Jesus wasn't flashy. Jesus wasn't flashy. To prove he wasn't flashy, on the night that he was betrayed, when Jesus was arrested, Judas had to kiss him. He didn't kiss him to kiss him. He kissed him to identify him. Because Jesus fit in. They was unable to identify Jesus. He wasn't flashy. But we want flashy. Someone say flashy. And some of us are not embracing the miracle that we have because it's not flashy enough. We overlooking a blessing because it's not flashy enough. We overlooking that car because it's not flashy enough. We overlooking that house because it's not flashy enough. We overlooking that spouse because they're not flashy enough. But we want the flashiness. We tend to think that because it's flashy, it's powerful. But just because it's flashy does not mean it's powerful. Just because it's flashy does not mean it's powerful. And that's what Jesus performed humble acts of service. And today we're going to look at Luke chapter 17. Luke 17, 11 through 19. Luke 17, 11 through 19. On the way to Jerusalem, he was passing along between Samaria and Galilee, and as he entered a village, he was met by 10 lepers who stood at a distance and lifted up their voices, saying, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. When he saw them, he said to them, go and show yourselves to the priest. And as they went, they were cleansed. As they went, they were cleansed. Then one of them, someone say one. One of them, when he saw that he was healed, turned back. Someone say turn back. Turned back, praising God with a loud voice. And he fell on his face at Jesus' feet, giving him thanks. Now he was a Samaritan. Then Jesus answered, were not 10 cleansed? Were not 10 people healed? Where are the 9? Was no one found to return and give praise to God except this foreigner? And he said to him, rise and go your way. Your faith has made you well. It's a powerful text right here. So many avenues you can go down. But today, I want to speak on this subject. Keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. I'm pretty sure people in this room said that before. Keep that same energy. Now, I want to inform some and remind others what that phrase means, because I know it's a mixed audience, it's a mixed crowd. Some people said it, some people haven't. But keep that same energy means continue acting the way you're acting, even if blank happens. So basically, you see it a lot, especially on social media. If somebody coming at you crazy online, somebody disrespecting you online, big and bad online, you tell, hey, keep that same energy when you see me in person. Look at people, yeah, I said that before. It's so you can keep acting like that. Don't switch up, because people are known to switch up real quick. People are known to switch up real quick. I love, like a lot of, like in the NBA, you see a lot of things going on between the fans and the players, because the NBA is like the sport where the fans could be right here talking a lot of trash, and people say, keep that same energy if you see me in these streets. Like, yeah, you talking better, but we say that keep that same energy. And you say it to people even when it comes to, because people known to switch up. Have you ever had somebody just switch up on you? Like when they needed you, they were nice. When they needed money, they were nice. When they needed your car, they was nice. When they needed to stay with you, needed somewhere to stay, they were nice. But the second they got back on their feet, they switched up on you. They ghosted you. They act like they didn't know you. The second they got back on their feet. And you're like, nah, player, keep that same energy. When you needed me, you was back then you didn't want me. Now I'm hot. You all up on me. No, keep that same energy. You didn't want me back then. Now that I came up a little bit, now you want me. No, keep that same energy. Say, keep that same energy. Keep that, because people are known to switch up. Switch up. Switch up. When you right there for them, you being there for them, you taking care of them, and the second they don't need you no more, they deuces. And then when you look about that with relationship with people, you got to think about that, about our relationship with God and how we tend to act the same way. I know it's going to get quiet right there. We tend to act the same way because when we needed him, we really showed it. When we needed a blessing, we was there at church every Sunday. When we needed a breakthrough, we tuned in to Family Word every first and third Wednesday. When we needed something, we prayed, we called on him, we reached out to him. But the second he came through for us, we ghosted him. The second he came through for us, we don't have nothing to do with it. We start switching up, and I hear God put it on my heart to tell you to keep that same energy. That same energy you had before the blessing, keep that same energy after the blessing. That same energy you had before that job, keep that same energy after the job. Before you had a job, you was all up in my DMs, you was hitting me up, you was blowing my phone up. But the second I gave you that job, now you act like you don't know a brother. Now keep that same type of energy, because you see it a lot. I see it a lot. You see it a lot when people really need Jesus. When people really want something, they need a breakthrough. They desperate. They break the doors down to come in. You see more of them. You hear more of them. But the second they get on their feet, the second God blesses them, the second God opens up, makes a way for them, open a door for them, they tend to take back that energy they was given. Or I can simply say they transfer the energy. They transfer the energy to the gift over the giver. So they were all for God in the beginning. They had the fight, they had the drive, they had the determination, but now it all goes into the gift. What does that mean? So basically, let me break it down. Before you had a car, you was all up in church. You was thanking God in advance. You was all for God. But the second you got the car, now you show more attention to the car than you do to God. And so we basically transferred energy. Now to God saying, keep that same energy. And that's what I want to remind you all today. Keep that same, and the energy you had before the healing, before the breakthrough, before God did what he did, keep that same energy after. And in this text, that's what we see. We see one man that kept that same energy. One man that kept that same energy after Jesus healed him. Because this was a group of lepers. They were suffering, of course, from leprosy. Now, leprosy is a huge deal. Very common in Bible time. Once you got it, that was it. Nothing you can do. Once you got it, the only option was death. You was a social outcast. You was incurable by man. It's incurable by man. But what we know about our relationship with God is that what's impossible with man is possible with God. Do I have any witnesses? What's impossible with man, God specializes in doing the impossible. And that's the thing about your spirit. Your flesh is saying it's impossible. Your spirit is saying with God, all things are possible. Your flesh is saying, I don't know how this is going to happen, but your spirit is saying, God can make a way out of no way. Your flesh is saying, my mind is just going crazy. I don't know what's going to happen next. Your spirit is saying, for God is the God of tomorrow. Do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day, someone say each day, has enough trouble of its own. That's what it's all about. And so what's impossible with man is possible with God. We need to remind ourselves that, because we're going to face situations in our life, we're going to face storms in our life, we're going to face drama in our life that seem impossible to get over, that seem impossible to go through. Some of us are at a Red Sea. You don't know what to do because your past is behind you, but your future, you don't see your future ahead of you. All you see is a Red Sea, but you need to know that with God, all things are possible. Someone say possible. Possible. They're suffering from an incurable disease. And by Jewish law, it prohibited anyone from getting close to them. They couldn't associate with the general public. That's the thing about leprosy. They couldn't associate with the general public. So they became outcasts. They became marginalized. They became outsiders. They became misfit in society. These are people thrown away by society. We should not overlook that. These group of lepers are people that were thrown away by society. Society didn't want to have anything to do with them. And they were insignificant in the eyes of society. But doesn't it feel good to know that even though you're insignificant in the eyes of man, Jesus is right there with you. Jesus is right there with you. Even when people throw you away, Jesus still rock with you. Even when people write your name off the list, Jesus still rocking with you. Even when people call you misfit, Jesus still rocking with you. That's why we should give Jesus praise for rocking with us regardless. Because like I said, people switch up on you real quick. They was with you, but the second you're going through something, they throw you to the side. But just know when they throw you to the side, Jesus is right there with you. And Jesus is about to show these people some love. Jesus is about to show these misfit, marginalized, outcasts, outsiders some love. Some love. Jesus, if you look at Jesus' track record when he walked this earth, he has a strong track record of showing love to the misfit. He had a strong track record of showing love to people that was marginalized, people that were outsiders, people that were outcasts. And that's what caught the super saints, a.k.a. the Pharisees, off guard, because they weren't used to someone moving like that. And that's why when they saw him eating with the sinners, they said, who eat with the sinners? Why does he eat with tax collectors? Why does he eat with sinners? But with Jesus, there's no complication too great. With Jesus, there's no sin too great. With Jesus, there's no imperfection too great that the love of Jesus cannot overcome. We need to remember that on this one, there's no complication too great, no sin too great, no imperfection too great that the love of Jesus cannot overcome. And so when Jesus heard these Pharisees say, why does he eat with tax collectors and sinners? He said, I'm not here for the righteous. I'm not here for the righteous. I'm here for the sin. I'm not here for the righteous, but the sinners. He has a track record of showing love to people that society throw away. So anybody watching this message right now or in this room right now, you feel like society has thrown you away, just know that Jesus is right there with you. Jesus is right there with you. He has a strong track record. If you don't believe me, it's so many testimonies in a story that you can read. You got the woman at the well. It's a whole story about that. The woman at the well. She was the lowest of low of society, yo. She was the lowest. First of all, she was a woman in a society where women were just disregarded, didn't even count. So that's strike one against her. Next, she was a Samaritan woman. And that was a race despised by the Jews. So strike one, strike two. Third, she was a social outcast because she was drawing water all by herself. And because all the women traveled in groups, she was by herself, meaning that she was a social outcast. So she had 3 strikes against her, the lowest of the low. But as one day, as she was going through her normal routine, she had an encounter with Jesus. Jesus was right there at the well. Nobody wanted to go to the well with her, but guess who was at the well waiting on her? Jesus. Jesus has a strong track record of showing love to the misfit. Showing love to the misfit. Jesus was right there at the well with her, and she had one encounter. All it takes is one encounter to change your life. All it takes is one encounter. We talk about one touch. Jesus, I just need an encounter. Just give me one encounter. One encounter can change your perspective. One encounter can change your situation. One encounter, someone say encounter. One encounter can be the difference maker. And that one encounter she had with Jesus changed her life. Jesus has a strong track record of showing love to the misfit. Next door, you got the man that was possessed by a legion of demons. Thrown away by society. Another man thrown away by society. They don't have nothing to do with him. They threw him. He lived in the tombs. He lived amongst dead folk. And then one day he saw Jesus and he ran to Jesus, dirty and all, naked and all, stinky and all. And Jesus showed love to him. Jesus showed love to someone that society has thrown away, someone that society didn't want to deal with no more. Jesus showed love to him. And then one more story, you got Matthew. Matthew, his disciple. People don't know Matthew, the disciple, one of the original 12 disciples, was a tax collector. And tax collectors were, in the black community, also Uncle Toms. That's what tax collectors were, because he was a Jew working for the Roman government, taking money from his own people. And so society the Jewish community don't want to have nothing to do with him. And guess what? One day as he was working at his tax booth, Jesus said, follow me. Follow me. Jesus didn't look at all that stuff that society thrown away. He just said, follow me. Because he has a strong track record of showing love to the misfit. Because there's no greater love than a love of Jesus. How many of you know that there is no greater love than the love of Jesus? Jesus is for everyone. Jesus is for everyone. He didn't mind healing sick folk. He didn't mind dealing with sick folk. He didn't mind dealing with the misfit. He didn't mind dealing with the misfortune. Because he came for the world. Because for God so loved the world, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. For God so loved the not the church, but not the righteous, but that's why he came. He came for the world, the sick world, the wicked world, the sinful world, the misfortunate world. The world, Jesus came for the world. He came for the world. And since Jesus is God in flesh and God is love, that means Jesus operates out of nothing but love. Jesus operates out of nothing but love. And that's why I have to say it because it's on my heart. That's why if your interpretation of the gospel incites hate, then that's not right. That's not right. If your interpretation of the gospel incites bigotry, then that's not right. If your interpretation of the gospel incites discrimination, then that's not right, because the gospel, the Jesus we serve, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, that we serve operated out of love. He died for our sin out of love. He died on the cross out of love. So if you preaching the gospel and you incite none but hate, bigotry, prejudice, discrimination, sexism, all that stuff, then that's not right. Because Jesus was all out of love, because Jesus is God wrapped in flesh and God is love. So Jesus operated out of love. And that's the problem. I am sick, and all you see is a bunch of church folk acting like bouncers for Club Jesus. Church folk acting like bouncers for Club Jesus. We've been to a party with a bouncer, and they dictate, you get in, you don't get in, you get in, you don't get in, you get in, you don't get in. Oh, and then we dictate on who gets to Jesus, when Jesus said, I came for everybody. But we act like bouncers. We act like bouncers. And so if somebody not dressed the way we want them to, you can't get to Jesus. You good. Or if somebody, oh, no, you got a too strong of a past. You can't get in. Oh, you get in, you good. Oh, you smell nasty. You can't come in. Oh, you wearing a hat. You definitely can't come in. Oh, you got earrings, tattoos. You can't come in. Your skirt too short. You can't come in. And Jesus said, just come to me. Just come to me. Just come to me. We acting like bouncers. Now we can all testify that we seen some bouncers up in the church. Bouncers up in the church trying to dictate and determine who gets to Jesus. Because the thing is, our job as a church is to fish. Like we did a few months ago. It's to fish. It's to bring people to Jesus. Because everybody has their own road to Damascus. Everybody got their own process. Everybody going to go through something. That's just life. But it's not our job to fix people. It's our job to send them to someone who can fix them. That's our job. But we get so caught up just trying to act like bouncers. That's what we do, and Jesus is for everyone. And the fact that he's in this text right now, it's a group of lepers, 10 of them, and he's about to show them some love. When some of us are like, no, we good. You can't get to Jesus. You too dirty. You too unclean. It's your fault. So you can't get to Jesus. When Jesus said, no, come to me. Come to me. Come to me. Come to me. And it's not our job to tell people who's saved or not. That's why I love Bishop say we can't cast people to hell. It's not our job. We can't say, oh, they going to hell. We can't say that. It's not our job to say that. Because what the Bible says, if they confess with their mouth and believe in their heart that Jesus is Lord and he died for our sins, then they shall be saved. And so you can't dictate just because they not wearing what you want them to wear, just because they not, acting the way you think that they should be acting, as to say, oh, they not saved. It's not who are you to say that? Who are you to say that? Who are you? But we feel entitled. Because Jesus need our help. He need our help. Because everybody can't come up in here acting a fool. No, Jesus, we got you. We got you, Jesus. And we're doing a good job, too. When you're really not, because you're pushing people away. That's a whole nother sermon. But we pushing people away. You got to catch the fish before you clean it. But you're pushing people away. So Jesus is about to show love to a group of lepers. And they saw him, and the reason they standing at a distance because, like I said before, they unclean. They can't get around people. They have to distance themselves. They have to be an outcast. They lifted up their voices and say, Jesus, Master, have mercy on us. Jesus, show us some compassion. Show us some compassion. And we talked about this in Family and Word not too long ago, where compassion fatigue, and how a lot of people in this world are experiencing compassion fatigue. We just tired. It's so much stuff going on in the world. It's too many things to care about. It's too many things. That's why it's hard for me to watch the news every day. I'm like, it's too many things to care about. And by the time I finish watching news, I can't care about nothing else. But we experience, and you see this a lot when it comes to, they say in the ministry you see compassion fatigue, at the hospitals you see compassion fatigue, anytime it's in any type of area of service, it's compassion fatigue because people tend to just run out of compassion. And the problem is we get upset because we want people to be compassionate to us, but they can't give you what they no longer have. You're trying to get somebody to pour out an empty well. And we experience compassion fatigue. But the thing I love about Jesus, Jesus does not suffer from compassion fatigue. Jesus actually wants you to bring your cares upon him because he cares about us. He's concerned about you. He wants you to cast your concerns on him, your anxiety on him. Everything you care about that's stressing you out, that thing that's keeping you up late at night, give it to me. That's what Jesus is saying. Give it to me. Cast your cares upon me because I care about you. I know you might think people don't care about you. They just suffering from compassion fatigue. But I'm not suffering from compassion fatigue. So give it to me. Give it to me. Give it to me. So don't get upset if something say you don't care no more. I just don't have it in me. Nothing wrong with that. I'm here to tell you there's nothing wrong with that because that's in the state in this world, that's what people are suffering from. But that's why of all people we should give everything to Jesus because Jesus will never let us down. He will never run tired. He wants everything you're concerned about. He wants you to bring it to him because he cares for us. And they say, Jesus, show us some compassion. Jesus, have mercy on us. And Jesus told them to show themselves to the priest. That's much different than what I preached about last week when I said his word is good. It's different because last week we saw that in a father having a request, right? And Jesus said, go, your son will live. He said, go, your son will live. So the guy stepped out of faith, but he got a word on what the outcome is going to be. Outcome. And we saw that faith is trusting without proof. Jesus spoke the outcome, but now you're trusting without proof. But in this particular case, he never told them what the outcome was going to be. He just said, show yourself to the priest. He never said, show yourself to the priest and you will be healed of your leprosy. He didn't say, show yourself to the priest and you're going to be all cleansed. But he said, just show yourself to the priest. So faith is trusting without proof, but faith is also stepping out even though you don't know what the outcome is going to be. Last week, Jesus spoke what the outcome was going to be. But today, he didn't speak on he just said go. He just gave an instruction. Go. And some of us are not stepping out on the instruction that God has given us because we don't know what the outcome is going to be. And so we are in, like I saw, a buffering stage. We're buffering because you wanna continue moving on, but you stuck because you don't know what the outcome is going to be. You want to step out on faith, but you really don't know what the outcome is going to be. But faith is trusting even though you don't even know what the outcome is going to be. Faith is saying, look, I'll get into this blazing furnace even though I don't know what's going to happen. But in the furnace or out the furnace, I'm still going to rock with God. I don't know what's going to happen because they didn't know what the outcome was going to be, but they still got in the furnace. Even in the lion's den, didn't know what the outcome was going to be, still went into. Are you willing to go into a blazing furnace? Are you willing to go in a lion's den, even though you do not know what the outcome is going to be? Do you have enough faith to do that? That's, to me, another layer of faith. He never said they were going to be healed. He never said what the outcome was going to be. He just said, go show yourself to the priest. Jesus gave them an instruction. Are you willing to step out on the instruction even though you have no idea what the outcome is going to be? God has given you an instruction, and you have yet to follow that instruction because you're unsure. You don't know if he's really going to come through or not, and you don't want to set yourself up for failure. Can we be honest? You don't want to set yourself up for failure. You don't want to feel disappointed. And that will cause us to not step out. But he said, go show yourself to the priest. But I'm here to tell you to take a chance. Take a chance. We take a chance at Ameristar all the time. Take a chance. Take a chance. Someone say, take a chance. Take a chance. You take a chance at the Horseshoe, formerly known as the Lumiere. Take a chance. Take a chance. March Madness going on. A lot of people sport betting right now. You take a chance in that. Take a chance. Is Jesus worthy enough for you to take a chance on? Is he worthy enough to take a chance on? And I don't know about you. In my eyes, he is. Even though I don't know what the outcome, I'll still roll the dice on Jesus. Anybody still willing to roll the dice? Look, I don't know what the outcome going to be, Jesus, but I'm going to step out on faith. I don't know what the outcome going to be, but I'm going to follow this instruction. I don't know what God gave you a specific instruction. He told you what to do. But are you willing to start doing it even though you don't know what the outcome is going to be? Somebody online, you've stuck on the instruction. You don't know what to do, but I'm telling you to take a chance. Take a chance. If he's telling you to move to another city, move to that city. Take a chance. If he tell you to take this job, quit that job you at, take another job, take a chance. Me being here is taking a chance, and I'm happy to say gambled pretty well. But take a chance. Are you willing to take a chance? They went. He said, go show yourself to the priest, and they went. And the text says, as they went, they were cleansed. As they went, they were cleansed. Process, as they went. They wasn't healed before they started walking. They were healed as they were walking. They weren't healed before. See, some of us, God gave you an instruction and you still flat-footed, wait for him to do something. But I'm just telling you, get to walking. Get to walking. Just start going through the process. Just start going through the process. Get to walking. That's when you're going to experience your miracle. That's when you're going to experience the breakthrough. All that happened in the process. It didn't happen before. It happened as they were walking. That's how it happened. As they went. Think about Peter. When Peter and the disciples were in a boat and saw Jesus walking on water, and Jesus said, don't be afraid, it is I. And Peter said, if it's you, Lord, tell me to come to you on the water. And what did Jesus say? Come. And Jesus just said, come. He didn't say, come and you're going to walk on water. He didn't say, come and you're going to be like me. No, he just said, come. And as Peter got out and started walking, he was walking on water. He stepped out even though he didn't know what the outcome was going to be. Some of us, my God, now you know I can't swim. Now you know I can't swim. And this ain't no kiddie pool. This the ocean. This the sea. This a lot of water. We would have dipped that little one toe in. Like, no, I don't know what's underneath there. No, I'm good, Jesus. But no, he stepped out, and as he were walking, he's walking on water. The miracle is in the process. The breakthrough is in the process. The transformation is in the process. And what I love is that too. What I love is this, and all this is building up on reason on why we should keep that same energy, because before they were healed, they were loud. Jesus, have mercy on us. They wanted his attention. They wanted Jesus to do something. And so they were extremely loud in their request. They were extremely loud in their prayer. They were extremely loud in what they wanted Jesus to do. But when they were healed, only one turned back. Only one turned back. Only one. Only one turned back when he noticed he was healed. When he noticed it was something different about him. And he knew the reason why. He turned back and he went back to Jesus and loudly, thank you, God. Loudly, thank you, Jesus. Fell at his feet, showed all the appreciation, showed all the gratitude, showed all the things. He kept that. He was loud in his request, and he was loud in his praise. Or it's a lot of people that are loud in their request, but they're quiet with their praise. No. Keep that same energy. The way you broke down the walls to get to Jesus, break down those walls to give him that praise, give him the love, give him the appreciation, because he didn't have to do it, but he did it anyway. And some of us have experienced too many good things from God. God has proven himself over and over and over again in your life, and you have yet to give him praise. You have yet to give him all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise that he deserved, because he didn't have to do it. Only one turned back. And Luke purposely mentioned how he was a Samaritan, because just a little fun fact, Luke, the Gospel of Luke, the author, was a Gentile. He was a non-Jew. And so his theme is basically to show how universal outreach of the gospel, on how the gospel is for everyone. So that's the theme of the Gospel of Luke. Luke wanted to show that this gospel is for everyone, even for me, and I'm a non-Jew. And so he pointed out that this man who turned back wasn't even a Jew. He was a Gentile. He was a Samaritan man. And he showed Jesus appreciation for blessing him when he didn't have to do it. That's the power of the love of Jesus. Because Jesus loved them. Because when I think about, like, even though they didn't show, the other nine didn't show Jesus appreciation, he didn't take back his healing. Some of us would have took that stuff back. Oh, you're not going to say thank you? Go ahead, snatch that. And they would have been walking all happy and then went right back to where they were. But no. But one turned back. One turned back and said thank you. One turned back and had that same energy. And are we willing to keep that same energy that we had with the request? Are we willing to keep that same energy when it comes to our praise and our worship and showing the love, showing the appreciation, showing the honor that Jesus deserved, because he does nothing but love you? What you have is out of his love. What you have is out of his love. What he did for you, he did it out of love, because he loves you. He loves you. He loves you. And because this one man, 1 out of the 10, he received what I want to say, call it a double blessing. Because he was healed, but Jesus said, rise, your faith has made you well. Whereas I thought he was already well, but now he's well spiritually. He's well spiritually. Just because your body is well doesn't mean your spirit is well. Just because your body is tight and your body is right doesn't mean your spirit is tight, and doesn't mean your spirit is right. Some of us need a spiritual healing. We put a lot of emphasis on the physique, the body, and how it's looking, but how's your spirit? That's what we need to start asking people. How's your spirit? How's your spirit? I know, you ask how's your body, I know how's your spirit? How are you doing spiritually? Is it weak? Is it strong? Do we need to grow some more? Do we need to do this? How's your spirit? How's your spirit? Ask yourself that in the mirror this week. How am I doing spiritually? And he said, rise and go, your faith has made you well. And out of the 10 lepers, only one received not just a physical blessing, a physical healing, but a spiritual healing as well. And his faith has made him well because he turned back. And some of us need to turn back and thank God for all that he has done for you. Thank God on how far he has brought you from, because some of us came a mighty long way than how we used to be. That's why I love, if you have a thinking problem, then you have a thinking problem. And some of us need to just think on all that you've been through. And if it has not been for the Lord on my side, where would I be? If it wasn't for God, where would I be? If it wasn't for God, where would I be? Because that's what it's all about. And that's what helps us keep that same energy, because a lot of us can be so loud in what we want Jesus to do for us. So loud in the blessing we want, the breakthrough we want. We shout about it, but are you shouting praises of Jesus? Are you shouting thank you? Are you shouting, God, I love you? Are you at his feet weeping and crying just because he's just so good? He's so good. And so I just want to remind you all, even myself, to keep that same energy. Give God praise for that word. God has been good to you. And also, God has been too good to our church. He has been awesome. He's been great. And that's why anytime you step into this place, we should thank God for what he's doing just for Christ Temple Family Church. Because like I said before, he didn't have to do it. We could have ended when many other churches ended during the pandemic. Yes. Can we be honest? But look at us now. Other churches didn't survive, but look at us now. Other churches were unable to bounce back, but look at us now. But that's because Jesus. It's not because of Bishop, it's because of Jesus. It's not because of me, it's because of Jesus. It's not because of the leaders of the church, it's because of Jesus. He kept us, and he's keeping us. And if he can do it for the church, he could do it in your life as well. This is just a testimony. Because when you're able to see what he's doing, you should be able to see it that he can do it for you as well. He's not limited on supply.